Hello, it's some dust or something. Welcome to the March 2024 Toxicity Tier List for Path of Titans. In this tier list, we're only going to be going over the official playables in Path of Titans, and I'm going to be ranking them based on how toxic they are. So you see our four categories here. We have Toxic Waste, Lemonhead, Sour Patch Kid, and Sweet Tart. And essentially what this means is when I see one of these dinosaurs while I'm playing in the game, how likely do I think they are to engage in these behaviors we might call toxic? So that could be anything from like mix packing, mega packing, killing on site, killing babies for no reason, you know, all that kind of stuff. And to help me out with this list, because the last time I did this, I did it solo, and in fact I think I'm gonna shrink this just a little bit here. Chat is here to help me out and make sure I have the right idea about everything ever. So, chat, we're gonna get started here with the newest playable that came out in official. Alright? The Ankylosaurus. Before I say anything, I don't want to, sway anybody. So how are we feeling about the Ankylosaurus? So when I don't know about you guys, while you're kind of thinking up your answer, the Ankylosaurus, it's a raptor, it was the most recent, and this thing, yeah, they're kind of a problem. I've definitely been chased down by big groups of them. They do seem kind of aggro. I'm seeing a lot of lemon, I'm seeing some sour patches. You know, I as well could see them in either. I'm leaning a little more toward Lemonhead. So we'll put them in the bottom of Lemonhead for now. I think that's a pretty fair spot for them, and then we can change it up if need be as we go. Next up, Albertoceratops. How are we feeling about Alberta? These are the middleman. This is between Styracosaurus and Eotriceratops. And these guys, they're not super fast. They hit kind of hard, they have good stamina, they have a spammable charge they can do. They used to be a huge menace. I really don't know about anyone else, but it's been a little while since I've really come across too many Albertoceratops, I have to say. Sour Patch, don't mind them. Sour Patch. You know, I think I have to agree with chat here. Sour Patch. I don't think the people that are looking for trouble really always pick Alberta. Oh, I agree, Hunya. They used to be way worse. They're going in Sour Patch. I'm with you guys on that one. Alioramus. Alio has had a storied past with Path of Titans. Constantly getting changed, switched up, moved around. Combat weight increase, combat weight decrease, attack increase, attack decrease. It's a speedy guy. The fastest carnivore. What do we think about the Alioramus? Now, I will say there have been some changes pretty recently. For a little bit, Alio was everywhere and they were definitely a problem, but relatively recently, there have been more changes that might affect where this thing lands. What do you guys think? Sour Patch, Lemonhead. So, it's funny you mentioned that, Colony. Never seen any rude Alios. The first list I did, I put them at Sweet Tart. I don't think I would do that now. I feel like most of these big groups that are out there to cause problems, they all have an Alio. A lot of Lemonheads. Alios are Sweet Tart or Sour Patch. You know what? The same way that I put Ankylosaurus at the very bottom of Lemonhead, I think I'm going to put Alio at the top of Sour Patch. The next one is Allosaurus. Not very many Allosauruses. I mean, I say that, but I just saw 3 of them. And remember, this isn't about like how much of a threat they are. This is how likely they are to be a problem for you. So, when you see an Allosaurus, what are you thinking? Are you thinking, oh my god, great, I gotta deal with this. You know, he's gonna run me down, he's gonna kill me for no reason. I mean, that is true. That is true. A2 Karma says, it's a popular dino, so it attracts everyone. And maybe that does skew it a little bit. I think you're right about that. Lemonhead, Sour Patch Kid. So I have a contentious thought about this. it is very true that a lot of the people that come to this game, the Allo, you know, it sounds scary and it kind of looks scary. I think a lot of people are kind of drawn to it as a popular dinosaur, and that can skew it, but I think that also skews it the other way. I have seen a surprising amount of friendly, reasonable Allos. I really don't see that many bad ones. They come through, don't get me wrong, they are out there. But where I feel this thing goes is the top of Sour Patch. The Amarga, this is another one that's had a lot of changes. The Amargasaurus, this thing used to be called the Lunchbox Dinosaur because it was so easy to kill and like no one played it. The people that played it definitely weren't causing problems. They don't pick this thing because it's fast, and they don't pick it because it's, you know, it's like an apex killer or anything like that. They've gotten more toxic. I agree. Hunya says toxic waste 100%. Hunya, explain. JK Sweetheart, the bait and switch. There we go. I see an orange. I don't know. Are they that bad? Do they deserve to go from Sweetheart to Sour Patch Kid? I'm having a hard time with that one. They dishing out karma. At most low Sour Patch Kid. You know, I used to think that these guys wouldn't hurt a fly, but I have seen some stuff now. Amargas have gotten better, and with that they've drawn a new audience of people. You know what? I think I'm going to put it at the top of Sweetheart. I think Amarga is still a sweetheart. I really do. I very rarely, you know, he's probably going to stay at the top, closer to Sour Patch, but I can't bring myself to put him in Sour Patch just yet. Carmarga. Alright, next is the Anodonto. I think I have a sneaking suspicion what chat's going to say about this one. Top of toxic waste. Toxic. 100%. Toxic waste. Now A2 here says old Anno. Toxic waste. But now more top of Lemonhead. Tyrant says sweet tart. Low toxic waste says Hunya. Nuclear fallout says Moth of Yoga. So they are still cute. This is not a cute tier list though. If this was a cute tier list, it would already look way different. I am putting them in toxic waste. I don't know, they're not going to be at the top of toxic waste because I think it does draw a certain player that just wants to be able to defend themselves and do their own thing. But good lord, if they aren't just awful. They totally abuse the fact that they can take hits for days and bone break. Just terrible. And that brings us to the Barsboldia. Tankiest thing in the game. Relatively fast for an apex. Bars is Sour Patch. Can we all agree that EO is nuclear? Bars is Lemonhead. Bars is Sweet Tart. We are all over the place for bars, aren't we? Sour Patch, Lemonhead, and Sweet Tart. I don't see anybody making the argument it's toxic waste, and I agree with that. I do not think bars is toxic waste. I don't think bars are typically that bad. I really don't. I don't have that many bad experiences. I think bars belongs even lower than Alberta. Alright guys, Campto. Alright, next up is Ceratosaurus. Ceratosaurus has gotten a lot of damage buffs lately. A lot of crazy stuff it can do with like the thrash bite. It's not as crazy as it used to be. It doesn't have like the leap thing that it was doing when it was a complete Pachy counter. I don't see as many of them. The ones I do see, I will say, they tend to be scrappy little dudes. Alright, what are we doing with Campto? Is Campto sweetheart? Are we all in agreement that Campto's sweetheart? Or does somebody have like a crazy Campto story they'd like to share? Yeah, old Campto was really cute, Hanya. I can't lie. I kind of miss him too. Campto killed everything in Impact Crater. I want my Campto tail. Dude, I know. When Campto had tail, you could kind of cheese with it a little bit. Alright, Cerato. When I see them, they're usually very annoying. I think they cause more problems for me than Aloe. In fact, I think they definitely cause more problems for me than Aloe. I think I'm going to put it below Achillobator and Lemonhead. Lower Lemonhead. Yeah, that's about what I'm feeling with the Cerato. Next up is the Conch. The Concavenator. What do we think about this guy? He's fast, he stacks bleed, he can swim. He's like a land shark. I'm pretty sure I know where this guy needs to go. Conch is always looking for trouble. Conch is Sour Patch. Yeah, Conch used to be freaking insane. I remember around the time I first started playing, Conch was considered one of the best non-Apex playables. Now there's a Lemonhead. You know what? You know what? I agree Conch is Lemonhead. Is Conch... Here's the question. Where does Conch fall in Lemonhead? Is Conch more toxic than Cerato? Conch and Cerato are very similar from what I'm seeing when it comes to toxicity. I think I'm going to agree. I think Conch splits the difference between Achillobator and Cerato. I think I'm with you guys on that. That brings us to Daspleto. Now for the Daspleto, you're talking about a very speedy mid-tier, just shy of sub-apex. It can do bone break, has exceptional damage output, but is kind of frail. Lemonhead. I see Dasp toxic waste. Dasps are terrible, toxic. You know what? You know what? That's crazy. That's crazy. I remember a few updates ago, Dasp was not that bad. But holy cow. I'll say this, if you go into a deathmatch server, they're full of them. This has everything that these toxic players love. It's really fast, it can bone break, it has high damage output. It has everything short of like an edgy skin. You know what I mean? What? A Dasp threatened to dox you. I love the idea. I'm sorry that happened to you, A2 Karma, but I love the idea of a Dasp sitting at a computer with his tiny arms trying to dox you. Like middle toxic waste. You know what? I'll put them below Anodonta. I've got a grudge against Anno, man. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. Maybe it's unwarranted, but I feel like Anno's a little worse than Dasp. Guys, the next one we have is the Duck, Dinosaurus. How do we feel about Mr. Duck? The Duck is extremely maneuverable in water. It's bulky. It's got good damage output on its claw attack. It's a meme. Hello, it's a duck. Baba says toxic. Ducks are toxic. Low Sour Patch, Lemonhead. Wow, we are all over the place here. I'll admit they were worse in the past. They're not as bad anymore, I don't think. You know, I always tend to lean toward putting apexes in toxic waste because the people that want to be trouble are going to pick the strongest thing available to them. But I mean, if you look at the Barsboldia, that's Sour Patch. That's like kitty stuff. That's not even bad. At the moment, I'm leaning toward like high Lemonhead. Toxic waste, says Hanya. You know what? Dinosaurus, Mr. Duck, I'm feeling top of Lemonhead. I don't know. Are they... When I see a duck, is it as likely to be a problem as Daspleto? I'm gonna put it very top of Lemonhead. Maybe it's just my personal experience with this thing. I've met some pretty friendly ducks. I see bottom of toxic. It's like right between the two. It's like splitting a hair. I think I'm okay putting it top of Lemonhead. I can't quite bring myself to put it into toxic waste. It's close. It's really close. The next is Deinonychus, the little chicken dudes. These are the lightest dinos in the game. A lot of them do spam pounce. They love spamming pounce. I gotta say, not all of them use pounce in an aggressive way though. Okay, when the pounce update first dropped, they would definitely be higher on the list, but now I feel like that went from toxic waste to low sour patch. And I say that because when pounce was broken and they could inflict a ton of bleed and everything, these guys were everywhere and they sucked. But now that they don't do bleed and there have been some checks and balances to the pounce, there's not as many, and the people that do seem to play them seem to understand that they don't serve a huge risk. And I think I'm going to put them below Albertoceratops. Here's Eo. Alright, your Rhino. So this is where I'm going to need some help from the chat. I don't play the aquatics very much. I've messed around with Urino or Urinosaurus. This is the little swordfish looking dude, the Ichthyosaur. I've played with them on Deathmatch. And from what I understand, there's not that many of them that actually get played, so I don't know how much experience we have. But I could really use your help with where to put the Urinosaurus or the Urinosaurus. No! What? You don't agree that Eo belongs in Sweet Tart? You watched The Land Before Time, right? You're really gonna look at me and you're gonna tell me that this is anything other than Sweet Tart? I feel like this is what most Trek players think they look like, and then when you beat them, they look like this. Meanwhile, I'm just like this. I'm like, hey guys. Alright, you know, I agree. Eos go top of toxic waste. You're correct. So, Urino, I'm seeing high sour patch, low lemon head. Oh my gosh, yes, I know, Eos are insane. I've been killed by Eos as an Eo before. It happens, man. So, it looks like for the Urino, we're thinking sour patch or lemon head. As I said, I have no horse in this race. Croc extermination duty. Now that, in and of itself, is a net positive for humanity. I think, from what I'm seeing, high sour patch says Baba. So sath Baba. So it shall be. Okay. Hatzegoptrix. Big bird. Can stay up in the sky forever. You can get some crazy damage output going. What are we thinking about the Hatzegoptrix? Sarcos would place it in Lemonhead. Alright, fair enough. I know there are a lot of Sarco mains. I will say that they love picking up babies, flying way up in the air and killing them for like no reason. Toxic, toxic, toxic. Hats are at least Lemonhead. Alright, so they're toxic waste. Are they as bad as Anodonto? I'm not gonna say they're as bad as Eo. I don't know if anything is worse than Eo. Spoiler alert. I like doing that, says Sonya. What, it tenderizes the baby meat? It's not enough that it's veal. It's this tender, like, baby meat. You have to drop it from a high... What are those birds? You know the ones I'm talking about where they'll, like, grab goats and throw them off of mountains? Is that you? Is that Hunya? Worse than Nano, less than Eo. They're on the same level with Dasp. So this guy's either going to go here or he's going to go here. He's up here though. You know what? I think I've seen more friendly Anos than I've seen friendly Hatses. I'm just saying, that's supervillain antics. Middle toxic. I'm leaning toward putting it right here. I think that's a fair placement. Iggy! Iguanodon. From one of the least played dinos to one that's got some moderate popularity. It's got solid combat stats, solid defensive stats, good speed. It can do alright in the water, causes bleed. Iggy has had a lot of changes. What do we feel about the Iguanodon? Where's Aladar in all this? Iggy is sour patch, middle sour. I would guess sour patch. Yeah, I will say Iggy's a lot of the time seem pretty neutral. They're not even that high in Sour Patch, I don't think. I mean, they have the capability to be a problem, but they don't choose to be. I don't think they give me as much trouble as Alio. I do think they give me more trouble than Alberta. Kaiwekia, I'm pretty sure is Sweetheart, right? Alright, Kentro. Oh boy, this is spicy. Kentro. If the Stegosaurus had Napoleon Syndrome. Kentrosaurus are speedy. They love getting that bleed racked up on you and not letting you rest it off. But that's just like how they work. I'm seeing a toxic waste. Kentro's toxic waste. Toxic waste, toxic waste. I'm gonna tell you something, man. They gave the Kentro the shoulder check, and I don't use it. But I've seen some Kentros lately that are just like demented. They'll rush in at a full sprint, they'll shoulder check you, and then hit you with their tail, like on the backswing. Yeah, everything I've heard about Kaiwekia is that they're actually really sweet. Kent is toxic, and I think it's fair to put Kent between Hats and Anodonto. Yeah, that one didn't take much deliberation. Okay, Lambeosaurus. This one's surprising to me. I didn't really think about this beforehand, because when you think of Lambeo, you think of like a healer, and it has like this visage of like a gentle herbivore. But I have had some terrible experiences with them lately. Lemonhead Lambeo. High damage tail attack, it can heal, relatively fast, relatively tanky. If they are Lemonhead, I've seen some things. If they are Lemonhead, I don't think they're super high though. No, they are high. Hold on. I'm having like Vietnam flashbacks, hold on. Why are Lambo players so aggro? You're right. They're mean. I'm legitimately trying to think of if it would go before or after a Kilobator. That's crazy. Yeah, it's got nearly 2 health bars, you're right. It is my opinion one of the best non-Apex playables in the entire game. It is way up there, for sure. I don't think they're as bad as a Kilobator. I think they're worse than Conk though. Like middle of Lemonhead, upper middle of Lemonhead. And that was like a revelation for me. Latin. It's like the Dinon, it's the in-between of the Dinon and the Kilobator. Does it go in the same place as Dinon? I mean, they're similar. I definitely see more serious players picking Latin over Dinon because it can actually take more punishment and do more damage. Personally, I think they're worse than Dinons. When they pounce you, it tends to be they're doing their best to actually hurt you. Lemonhead. Holy cow. It's up a whole tier from Dinon. I don't think they're worse than Ceratos. I'm not convinced they're worse than Urinos. Let's put the Latin at the very end of Lemonhead, which now leads us to Megalania. Holy cow. The last time I did one of these, Megalania shot straight to the top of Toxic Waste. But a lot has changed. How do we feel about the Meg now? Megs are low Toxic Waste. Lemonhead. Yeah, I think I agree with that. I think they're worse than Lambeo. Are they as bad as a Kilo? I don't think Megalania is as bad as a Kilobator, which is crazy because the first list I did, they were like the very top of Toxic Waste. Amargasaurus propaganda. We're all Amargasaurus lobbyists. That brings us to the Metriacanthosaurus. Probably the most insane evolution of a dinosaur in this entire game. Started off having venom and claw with bleed, and then it was only venom. And they leaned in on the venom, they gave it 2 venom bites and like a toxic screech. And then they removed all of that, and they made it a healer. So where does that put it now? Moth says mid-Sour Patch for the Metri. I have to like divorce my previous opinions because it's totally a different, it's a different playable altogether now. I think Sour Patch is good. I think Sour Patch is right. And I don't think it's even as bad as an Alioramus. Alright, that brings us to Pachycephalosaurus. Now, I got a lot of flack on my first toxic waste video because the Pachy had just come out and it wasn't buffed yet. It was really weak, and so people were using it for like parkour, but they weren't really causing too many problems with it. And then the next update, they just got ridiculous. And so everybody that looked at that video was like, why isn't Pachy toxic waste? I don't get it. Pachy are lemon heads, Pachy are toxic waste. Pachy is lemon head. So I'll say this, always got my eyes on Pachys. They are extremely violent. I'm seeing overwhelmingly lemon head. If I'm putting it in lemon head, it's going above Megalania. I'm not gonna put it above Dinosaurus because Dinosaurus is missing toxic waste by a hair. I think Pachys are worse than Ankylobators. Sour candy tier list win. I mean, I could do that. I don't handle sour very well, so I could like get a bunch of sour candy and then try it, and you could hear me dying. I agree, Hunya. I think they're worse than a kilo. I really hate black licorice, and so I thought I'd do a challenge where every time I died, I would have to eat some black licorice. I thought that'd be kind of funny. And every time I want to fight, I can have some delicious Wily Wallaby, you know, regular licorice. Anyway, Pycnonemosaurus. Yeah, there's like you get like possessed when you play Pachy. It just like takes over you and it makes you want to headbutt everything. Pycno's bad. They are toxic, but how toxic? What are we thinking? It's a fast dino, it hits hard, they like to group up, they launch things off cliffs. A sour candy tier list stream. Well, here's the thing about that monster. My wife loves sour candy, so you don't have to buy it and send it. I'll just go out and buy a bunch, and then I'll just like give her what I don't eat, because I'm more of a sweet or a savory kind of guy. You know, like caramel and peanut butter, chocolate. Pycno, high lemon head, same place as Pachy. It is the charge. Charge for real. It brings out the worst in people. Pycno is Sour Patch? Really? I'm toxic waste, lemon head, and Sour Patch. Pycno is worse than Pachy, but not worse than Duck. I think that's true. I believe that. And I see a lot more of them than I see Pachys, or Ducks, honestly. I am okay with that ruling. Pycno's toxic waste. It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. Is it that bad, though? Is it that bad, though? Now I'm reconsidering. Hold on. They're not different than a Pachy. They play about the same way, don't they? I'm back and forth. Part of me is either like, it needs to be bottom of toxic waste, or it's perfect where it's at. This is going to be controversial. I'm moving Pycno in front of the Duck. Since I could not decide whether to keep it with Pachy or put it in toxic waste, it's splitting the difference. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I know some people are gonna like burn down my house and draw and quarter me and all these horrible things, but it's just what it is. It's just how I feel. Next up is Sarco. Guys, I'm biased. I'm emotionally compromised right now. I cannot do this without your help because I just got snipe killed by 3 Sarcos at once. So, JP, hail! Hail! Get him! Get him! Get him! Oh, Jesus Christ! There's 2 of them. Got it! Oh, there's 3 of them! There were 3 of them! Please. I'm gonna take a drink because my voice is giving out, and I want everyone to help me. Alright, toxic waste. Toxic. Toxic waste. Toxic. So this is something that hasn't changed since the last one I did. Higher than EO? Such a thing just blows my mind. Absolutely chill or absolutely toxic, I totally agree. Are they worse than EO Triceratops? No. I don't think they are either. They're close. They're really freaking close. No chill EOs. That's true. I think Sarcos are worse than hats. I'm pretty confident in that. I'm pretty confident in that. Sarco's going way up there, which brings us to the Spino. Apex. Beefier than a T-Rex. Semi-aquatic. Funny enough, Spinos, of all of the apexes, except for maybe Barsboldia, I tend to have the best experience with. You know, I think Spino deserves the lemon head, and I don't think it's even as bad as the duck. When it comes to toxicity, I have more problems with ducks than I do with Spinos. I see a lot of really chill Spinos. Okay, Hanya's up. Hanya's up to bat. Stegosaurus. I'm gonna play this song, this specific song. Stegosaurus. Where does it land? Where does it land? Hanya. I'm waiting. Sour Patch. Anyway. I think I've got to agree. More than Iggy, less than Alio. I think I agree. I'll put it above Metri too. Struthi. I think Struthi was like a sweet tart in my last toxicity list. And the thoughts that are going through my head right now, the dust from back then would think are blasphemy. Because it's not sweet tart now. It's sad days when Stego's more toxic than Metri. It's what they did to my boy. I mean, Metri used to be a terror, but now... To Raptors, Struthi's toxic waste. Bro, Struthi's attack me on everything. There are so many foaming at the mouth, rabid, featherless Struthis. Right. And they're just running amok and fighting everything. The only thing they're really dangerous to are Raptors. But man, they're out there. I'll say it's not often anymore that I see a Struthi that doesn't try to jump kick me. How bad are they really though? I don't think they're worse than Latin. They're trolls, lemon heads. I think that's fair. You know, if we're going strictly by what they try to do, they are trolls. You're correct. They are trolls, and to the best of their ability, they try to destroy the sanity of me and everyone I love. So I think I'm gonna put them under Latin. Mid Lemonhead. Mid Lemonhead. Holy cow, man. When we're talking mid Lemonhead, this thing was Sweet Tart, I'm pretty sure, in my first video. And now it's in Lemonhead. Somewhere between low and mid. That's insane to me. Okay. Styracosaurus. Speedy trike. Stacks bleed. Super quick. They're all over the place. They basically counter a Kilobator. I've got a pretty good idea of where these guys should go. What do you guys think? First two messages are toxic waste. Agreed. Nasty. Sty is more toxic than Meg. I know. Yeah, weird times. Weird times. I don't think they're as bad as Kentro. I do think they're worse than Anodonto. Or are they as bad as Kentro? I agree. In fact, I think it's a little worse than Kentro. I do, because Kentro is at least a defensive-leaning dinosaur, where they're at their best when you're chasing them, so that they can tail kite and smack you in the face. Styes are a forward-facing, and they have a charge. We've already established that charging just, like, possesses people to be the worst. So I think I'm going to put it just above Kentro. It's close, though. Next is Suchomimus. So there have been some mean ones lately. The claw barrage made them, it emboldened them, I would say. Lemonhead. I agree. I think that's fair. I think Sucho's worse than Lambeo. I'm not convinced it's worse than Megalania. I think that might just be a good spot for it. Alright, Thalassodromeus. This is the Speedy Burb, the first official flyer in Path of Titans. Now, in my experience, not very toxic. Can they be annoying? Sure. But toxic? I mean, I think they understand that they're like a frail little bird, right? Tyrant said top of toxic waste, and Monster immediately says Sour Patch. Best annoying trophy stealers. I mean, that's a little toxic. That's a little bit toxic. They're kind of like the Struthis of the sky. A seagull trying to steal your lunch. That's pretty toxic. It's more annoying than anything, though. It's not like overly malicious. How would you guys feel? I don't quite feel comfortable putting them in the lemon head, I'm thinking high Sour Patch. I think I'm cool with Sour Patch Kid, and that brings us, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls and dinos and lizards and birds, the Tyrannosaurus. The Tyrannosaurus is our last choice for this tier list. Rex is at the top of Lemonhead. Now I don't remember much, but I do remember the first list of this I made where Rex was like way at the top of toxic waste because of the constant roaring, because of the bone break, because how everyone used them. But then they got nerfed. But some things never change. They're still loud, and they're still very full of themselves. Toxic waste, toxic waste. I think I agree with that. I'm gonna say this though, and I really believe it. I think Sarcos are more toxic than Rex. How do we feel about that? Is that controversial? Is that gonna hurt my presidential campaign? Because at the moment, I'm very tempted to put it above Hats but below Sarco. Hunya says less than Sty, more than Kent. That's interesting. No, I think you're onto something. I think you're right. Hold the phone. More Stys give me trouble than Rex, and I think that's because Stys are fast enough to actually chase you. I think Rexes understand where their limitations are. Holy cow, it's lower on toxic waste than I thought. I think you're right. Dare I put Rex this far down? Ladies and gentlemen, I think this is our toxicity tier list for March 2024. So that's it. In toxic waste, we have EO, Sarco, Hats, Styraco, T-Rex, Kentro, Anodonto, and Dasp. In Lemonhead, we have Pycno, Dinocurus, Spino, Pachy, Aquilibator, Megalania, Sucho, Lambeo, Conk, Serrato, Urino, Latin, Struthi. In Sour Patch, we have Thalassa, Allo, Alio, Stego, Metri, Iguanodon, Alberta, Dinon, and Barsboldia. And in Sweet Tart, the only three in Sweet Tart are Amarga, Campto, and Kaiwekia. I think that is the complete toxicity tier list for March 2024. I want to thank everybody in the chat for helping me out with this. Your insight has been incredible. I had a lot of fun with this. I hope you all enjoyed it as well. I want to thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next one.